How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another Call of Duty Ghosts weapon guide. Today we're going to take a look at another fan favourite, the AK-12, which is another new weapon to the Call of Duty series, although this assault rifle basically replaces the same old AK variant we tend to get in every Call of Duty title. And as we'll see as part of this guide, this weapon retains its heavy hitting power much like its predecessors, the AK-12 and AN-94. So let's get started with this guide and take a look at some of those stats and figures for the AK-12 in Call of Duty Ghosts. So starting off with its damage figures, it weighs in with stats of 49 dropping off to 25. They're amongst the highest figures for the assault rifles. That up close damage figure isn't quite as high as the MSBS, but in terms of fully automatic rifles it's amongst the best performing weapons. That heavy power is also retained out to long range. 25 is a little bit higher than the usual 20, and that essentially means you're going to secure your kills in 3 to 4 shots. The distance for that 3-shot kill range isn't too bad either, 25 meters, where your 3-shot kills will start to drop off to 4-shot kills, but with this weapon only dropping down by 1 shot to kill, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Unlike the Remington R5 or the ARX-160, those weapons drop down to a 5 or a 6-shot kill, which is much more detrimental to your performance. This means a silencer is always a good choice for this weapon, seeing as you're not going to be sacrificing too much of your damage output by reducing that range and needing those 4 shots to kill. And conversely, the muzzle brake is one attachment you probably won't want to run, seeing as you won't want to waste an attachment slot just for the sake of securing a kill at long range in 3 shots as opposed to 4. The magazine size for the AK-12 is perfectly adequate. It comes out at the average 30 rounds, which can be extended to 45 rounds with the extended mag attachment. But unfortunately the AK-12 is let down with its reload time. Clocking in at 3.2 seconds, it's by far the slowest out of all the assault rifles. This means the sleight of hand perk is an absolute must for this weapon, and you might also want to run the sleight of hand perk in combo with the extended mags, just so you're not having to perform those slow reloads too often. Another mediocre stat for the AK-12 is its rate of fire. 689 rounds per minute isn't the slowest, but it's on the slower end of the scale. This is kind of to be expected though. We always see those AK variants with quite a slow fire rate, but that's always balanced out by its heavy hitting power. There are pros and cons to a slower fire rate though. On one hand, it does mean you can conserve your ammo that little bit easier and be more precise in taking out long range targets, but on the other hand it can let you down in close range encounters when weapons such as the submachine guns or faster fire rate assault rifles can get their required shots to kill out much faster than you can. Another pretty average feature for the AK-12 is its recoil spread. As you can see, this weapon's got quite heavy side to side recoil with it drifting off to the right under automatic fire. It's by no means one of the higher recoiling weapons, but side to side recoil is much harder to control than vertical recoil. So another attachment that you might want to go for is the grip, just to help reduce the effects of that gun kick. And like with most of the assault rifles, the iron sights are pretty adequate. There's no real reason to use an optic unless you're going for those particularly long range targets. Unlike some of the other weapons that have an aperture to look through, this weapon is just set up with the front pin, which does help with your peripheral vision, so you're not likely to miss any other bad guys that were stood right in front of you. So just like the real life Russian Kalashnikov rifles, the AK-12 in Call of Duty Ghosts is reliable and versatile to see you through all engagements in any kind of game mode, which is why it gets my title of Strong Like Bull and my overall rating of 4 out of 5. This weapon is definitely one of the favourites in the community and one of the better performing weapons in the Call of Duty Ghosts arsenal, but there are a couple of stats that do let it down when compared to some of its competitors. The AK-12 is probably a better choice than the Remington R5, with it having that higher long range damage and the ability to kill in 4 shots as opposed to 5, but when you compare it to weapons such as the SA-805, that weapon comes along with very similar stats with the ability to kill in 3 to 4 shots, a faster fire rate, a slightly faster reload time, but more importantly much lower recoil that heads off in an upwards direction, which is much more controllable. So that just about wraps up my review of the AK-12 in Call of Duty Ghosts. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this weapon down in the comments. Do you agree with my rating, or would you give it the full 5 out of 5? If you did enjoy my video, or if you learned anything new, then I'd really appreciate a thumbs up down below just to help spread the word and share the video with your friends. Don't forget you can always check out that link in the description to see the full playlist for all the episodes that I've posted already. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll catch you all later.